Alright, what is up? We are out here in São Paulo. This is my apartment, Airbnb that I'm staying in. Honestly, pretty nice. Like, nice little studio setup. Got the bathroom back there, little kitchen, little fridge. Although I haven't been really eating here, been eating out. But yeah, this is a little view of the city in the back here. Yeah, pretty cool spot. So I'm staying here for 2 nights and then it's off to Salvador actually tomorrow. So yeah, first couple of days here, I got in at 6 a.m. yesterday, did a ton. I think I'm just gonna talk a little bit about what I've been doing, what I've been up to, and then I'll overlay some footage and all that. So I'm thinking for this vlog, I'm not going to actually be like walking around talking in the streets just because, you know, it is Brazil at the end of the day. It can get a little bit dicey and unsafe, and especially, you know, a lot of this stuff with crime. I'm not saying that it's like a bad place that you shouldn't visit, you should like be careful and have like these stereotypical things up, but there's a reason there's stereotypes. Like, some of it is true, and I definitely don't want to like increase a lot of as I was saying with crime, it's a lot of it is honestly just up to chance. It's not necessarily because you go there and like for sure you're gonna have crime or something happen to you, but a lot of this stuff is chance. And obviously by me walking around speaking English, looking like a freaking gringo American with a lot more money than the locals have there, I'm gonna put a bigger target on my back than I would otherwise, just like walking, phone in my pocket, not looking at anyone, kind of like head down, not really trying to draw and attract attention. So anyways, so yesterday basically got in at 6 a.m. at the airport, took an Uber to my place here, couldn't check until 3 p.m. So I just basically walked around a bunch, walked around Liberdade, which is the Japanese neighborhood out here. And yeah, got some good food, saw some sights. And then from there, I just walked around, chilled some more. Finally took the metro to Avenida Paulista, and then met up with the walking tour group, did a walking tour there. And then afterwards, I met up with one of my friends here, and then we hung out a little bit more, walked around and got some dinner. And so that was pretty chill, and that was pretty much a chill first day. And then got up this morning, had some coffee, got a little bit of work done, and did another walking tour at 11. So that was about like 2.5 hours ish, and then hung out with someone else from the walking tour, and we got some more food, got some more lunch. And then right now I just got back to the apartment. I'm gonna chill for a little bit, and I'm meeting with my friend again, and then yeah, we'll hang out some more, and I'll keep you updated to what the day becomes. And so yeah, that's pretty much a recap of my trip so far. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, what is up? It is day 3 officially in São Paulo, my final day here. I have to go catch my flight in like 3-4 hours. My flight's at 2 around, actually the departs like 1:50 something p.m. But I figure I can just head there like an hour before because it's a domestic flight. So last day here, I still want to check out the Beco, the Batman area, Pinheiro, and then also I do want to check out Ibirapuera Park, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to squeeze that in. I think both of those are each half an hour by metro from my place. And then I believe the park is like only accessible by like one line, so it is going to be a little bit out of the way, but we'll see if I'm able to squeeze it in. But that's the plan for my final day in São Paulo, and then I need to catch a domestic flight from here to Salvador, which is like another like 2 hours by plane. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan for the rest of the day. I did finish up the rest of yesterday, just hung out with my friend some more, walked around the city, and then also we ended with dinner, and we got a burger and fries. I really wanted what is it called, picanha, which is like a specific cut of barbecued meat here, but unfortunately we couldn't find a churrascaria that served that late at night, and so we just ended up getting some burgers, some fries, some pastéis, and had a couple of caipirinhas, which is a very Brazilian specific type of cocktail, which was chef's kiss, very, very good. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan for the rest of the day, and I'll keep you posted as always. All right, so quick update as to how the day has gone. So I actually missed my initial domestic flight because I was hanging out with my friend, we were just having a good time and got lunch, and we just ended up way too far from the airport, and then I tried to take an Uber back to my Airbnb, which I had stored my luggage at, And then by that time, I think the boarding was closed, and so I missed my flight, and so I had to go to the airport again and then rebook it. But luckily, they had another flight that was like a couple hours later, so I ended up making it out here just a couple hours later than expected, and we are out here. Oh, fireworks! Cool, but we are out here in Salvador, as you can see in the back. Dude, just walk through the street, you can tell it's gonna be pretty damn lit. Like, there are just people out there, they already have like they already put up like a bunch of these stands and stuff, which I'm assuming that's where the parade is gonna be going. So yeah, pretty stoked. I'm actually gonna head out in a little bit just to grab dinner. Found this cool barbecue place. Of course, I'm gonna have so much freaking barbecue here, and then of course I'm gonna get a caipirinha again. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan for today. Kind of a long day, but yeah, and then I'm gonna chill, and then I have a client session tomorrow morning, and then that's pretty much it's gonna work on some content as well, and then yeah, it's gonna be the plan for tomorrow. I don't have much planned in Salvador, but we'll see. Whatever happens. Of course, I'll try to record some footage and then spit it on the screen as I am, vlogging and talking about everything. So yeah, let's go. All right, quick vlog update. So woke up this morning, had a online remote client session in like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And so I went out real quick to get some breakfast, walked over to this place I found online on Google Maps. It was pretty good. It had a bunch of selection of different things, but I chose the hot dog that was it was like kind of like a hot dog. It was more so like the linguiça, which is like that Portuguese sausage thing, and then in between a piece of bread, kind of like a hot dog, and then it was more like pão de queijo, which is a specific type of like Brazilian cheese bread. And so man, that was super good. And then had this like fancy ass coffee. They literally served it in like a high wine glass. So yeah, anyways, that was pretty good. Then I started making my way home, and I also wanted to walk around the neighborhood some more. So I walked around the neighborhood, ended up getting a banging acai place because I saw the maps. I was like, oh man, I need to have acai straight from the source. So I had this really good big ass acai bowl, and then of course, yeah, it worked out to be like $6 US. So there's that. And then went home, did my session super quick, and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take it chill today. Not gonna walk around and kill my legs so much because I have a walking tour scheduled for tomorrow. So that's what I'm gonna do in like the city central, which is like 15-20 minutes by Uber. So that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. And then I pretty much spent the rest of the day. I walked around the neighborhood some more, hit up a couple of like viewpoints out here. So one is like probably 5-10 minutes down, and then I walked back to the other end with this lighthouse thing. And then I decided, I'm like, okay, it's hot as hell, and I didn't want to go out on the beach and like have to rent one of those umbrellas. And then of course I got to think about, because I'm traveling alone, I need to find a place to store my crap, or I got to get one of those bags or something like that. But I didn't want to deal with all that, so I just decided, luckily there's a pool here, so I decided I'm just gonna go up with the pool, end up chilling up there for a few hours. And then these people just like, we made eye contact a little bit, and we just started like talking to each other. And then I had a nice chance to practice my Portuguese speaking, and then also like listening a ton, just because my speaking's not there to have like full-blown conversations where we can talk super fast to each other. But I was able to like understand a lot of what they're saying, and then I would reply here and there with a few sentences. But yeah, that was a pretty good experience. Made some friends. So yeah, there we go. That's pretty much the day so far. I'm gonna go out and check out the parade, which I'll show you. Like, I took a couple of videos earlier, and then I'm gonna grab dinner as well, and then we'll see where the night takes us. So there you go. All right, quick vlog update. So went out and did the walking tour in Central Salvador, and then pretty much I ended up walking, and I got lost somewhere, and then I saw this sketchy tunnel, and I was like, I'm not gonna go in there. There's a bunch of homeless people just sitting there, and I feel like I'm getting robbed. So I literally waited near the entrance, and then there was like a mansion there, luckily. So I just like camped out there, and hopefully I was like, okay, there's security cameras, so if anything happens, I'm gonna be safe for the most part. And so I decided to just call an Uber, ride back home, and then ended up getting lunch from the carts out here, and then I'm just chilling and watching the pre-Carnaval parade outside. And then of course you can see that there are a bunch of people down there, so I don't want to mess with that line. So you're probably gonna be waiting in line for like a couple hours, so I don't want to do that. And of course I get like a nice little front row seat-ish, so I'm just gonna watch and enjoy the parade from here. All right, so quick vlog update. We are out here in Rio de Janeiro, or as the Brazilians actually say, Rio de Janeiro. So this is the apartment that I'll be staying here for the next 4 nights, I believe. So quick update. I don't remember when I last left you off, but I ended up going on a walking tour, and then what happened after that? Oh yes, and then I ended up spending a night and a day with one of my friend's aunts who lives in like a little bit like northern like Salvador, which was super cool. She lives in a villa out there, and then she was able to get me a discount on my own room and everything. And it's like right on the beach. There's a pool there as well, and so we just walked around, and you know, it was just like super cool. And then after we just spent like a really chill day, just taking it easy. Had some coconuts, had some fresh fruit and stuff like that. And then afterwards rested up for the night, and then woke up, went up, and then we took an Uber up about like an hour north more to a place called Praia do Forte, which is, I think it's just like beach of strength or beach of strong or something like that. But anyways, so that's what we did, and then walk around. It's like it's just like a typical like beach town, but it was cool because they're just Brazilian vibes. And then of course we had more coconuts and everything, and just hung around, had some acai, and then and then that was pretty much that. And then I headed back to Salvador to stay one more night there, and then took a flight today from Salvador to Rio here. And then I got in pretty late because I was just stuck in traffic for like an hour and a half. It was supposed to be like a 40-minute Uber ride, but it ended up being like an hour and a half. So there was that. And then finally got in, checked into my hotel, or Airbnb for that matter, ended up walking around Copacabana, and then had some more acai, and then here I am. Alright, what is up? Quick vlog update. So ended up meeting up with a friend that I met on the walking tour that I did in São Paulo. And so he ended up in Rio today, and so I walked around by myself. I was waiting for him to come into town, and then I was walking around Copacabana Beach. It was super cool, felt super safe. I think I'm just in the safer part of Rio, and it definitely is, like, obviously be on your wits about everything, but obviously it is much safer than other parts. But again, I think this applies anywhere. Just practice common sense. Don't show off valuables and have your phone waving around like, hey, rob me, you know, that kind of stuff. Maybe take extra caution here about taking your phone out, or just being lost, looking lost and staring down the space or something, and just being oblivious. But for the most part, I felt super safe. It's a super touristy area. There was a bunch of people out. And then I ended up getting dinner with my friend, and we ended up eating dinner, and then we went over to the beach area and got some drinks as well, and chilled out a little bit there. So yeah, overall, like, we stayed until midnight, and I walked home back to my Airbnb. It was like a 5-minute walk, and it felt super safe, even though it was late. But then there's still a lot of people out on the street, and you know, everyone just chill and just minds their own business. So yeah, this is the officially day 2 in Rio. I just opened up my passion fruit Fanta that I picked up at the local supermarket, and it's pretty good. Just posted a review on my Instagram if you want to check that out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I have a food tour coming up in now 3 hours, so got some time to chill, and I'll just probably walk around and enjoy the beach a little bit. Probably won't go like in the water and everything, but yeah, I'll just enjoy what I can here in a couple hours. And then I gotta take the metro to it's like out west in like another neighborhood, probably like half an hour or so out there. So yeah, that's the plan for today, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. Alright, what is up? It is day 4, 5? I don't remember. It is day something in Rio de Janeiro, and currently packing up to move to a different Airbnb because I fucked up. I did not know the dates of Carnaval, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna leave in like on the 2nd, and then I'm gonna head to Florianopolis and head to Foz do Iguaçu, and then that guy that I met on the walking tour ended up convincing me to stay because he said Carnival is obviously gonna go until, you know, was it like Wednesday or something, on Ash Wednesday, because it is the same holiday as Mardi Gras. And he said honestly, like Florianopolis, there's not much to do. Like he's someone who has done extensive research, so he said, yeah, there's not much to do unless you really love the beach that much. And then obviously I felt like even just being in Rio, I know that the water has just felt cold, and so I was like, if I go even more south, like I feel like the water is just gonna be cold again, and I don't want to go into like frigid waters. I personally, if I go to the beach, I love much warmer waters. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's nice to go on a beach trip, but also at the same time, I do want to be in a city where there's actually stuff to do and not just sitting at the beach for like 8 hours a day. It's nice to have that stuff from time to time, but I feel like I want to be in a place where I can alternate back and forth between the two. Like I can have a beach day, I can have an active and go out and do stuff day. So yeah, and then also Rio Carnival, like it's a once in a lifetime experience. I mean, once in every year, but I'm not going to be able to make it every year, and so I just want to be here to maximize it and just like see it through and just fully experience it here. And then also it'll make my trip feel a little bit less rushed. And so I'm gonna stay here for another three nights. Yeah, 3 nights. And I'm leaving on Wednesday, go to Foz do Iguaçu and still see Iguaçu Falls, because definitely have not, I won't say have not, but I definitely want to check more nature stuff off my trip here. And so gonna do that. I think spending like 2 nights there. Yeah, 2 nights, and so I'll have like 2, but then my flight to Ribeirão Preto, which is a town just outside of São Paulo, a city outside, like an hour by flight, and meet up with a friend there. So I'll spend like, yeah, two nights in Foz do Iguaçu, and then 2.5 days, 2.5 full days there. So I'll hit the Brazilian side, hit the Argentina side, and then yeah, meet up with my friend, and then back to São Paulo for another like 2 nights, and then head out for my flight. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the quick update. And so yeah, past few days been just going out and about, enjoying Carnival, doing some online client sessions and check-ins and all that kind of stuff, and as well as I still have not gotten to check out the Christ the Redeemer and then also Sugarloaf Mountain, because on 2 occasions I meant to meet up with that same friend, but then things just didn't pan out. I had client sessions, and I just had like other commitments, and then obviously it made me super late. And so yeah, I do plan on doing that at some point. I just don't know when, because between all the Carnival festivities and stuff. So yeah, I'll figure out when to squeeze it in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Catch you next one. All right, so quick vlog update. We have arrived officially in Foz do Iguaçu. This is the room. Pretty sweet, all to myself, and it was like 30 something USD a night. So yeah, I'm gonna stay here for 2 nights. This is the first night. Tomorrow's gonna be the second night. So I have a full day tomorrow, and then I'm going to book a flight for late Friday night. So then I'll kind of have 2 full days, and the plan here is to check out the Iguaçu Falls. I actually did a little bit of a flyby, so it was looking sick in the airplane. So I'm excited to go out there and check it out tomorrow. Both on I'm gonna try to do Brazilian side and also Argentine side. If I can try to fit in one day, I'll do it, but if not, nothing too biggie. But yeah, the past few days I've been spending it in Rio. So actually, like I said, I decided to extend my trip. The new place, I don't think I got any videos or anything of it, but the new place it's kind of janky or a little bit ghetto, but whatever. It was a place that was less than 100 USD a night, which for me, that's like a decent price. But yeah, stayed out there, ended up going to more Carnival parties, ended up actually being in a Bloco and just like partaking in that, and just like doing more Carnival festivities, hanging out with that one guy I met, that one friend I have, who I would consider a friend now, for to hang out Carnival, and then met up with some girls as well. Actually, one of like my Tinder matches, and I met some of her friends, and then we just like hung out and partied and stuff. And so we did that one night, and the other night we went to this concert, and apparently this like very, very well-known, what do they call it, drag queen, who has an amazing voice, by the way. Like I've never gone, I'm not... I wouldn't say like a huge fan, but also like not really against it. It's just something that I've never really delved into, and it was really cool. The voice was amazing. I didn't really know the songs they were singing, but yeah, it was cool nonetheless, and it was just a good time. And of course, there was like a blocko at the venue as well, so that was pretty cool. So I did that, and then yesterday I pretty much just and then I went and checked out. So the day before yesterday, I went and checked out the Pangji Asukar, which is Sugarloaf Mountain. Took the cable cars up. It was super cool. And then what else? And then yesterday, so I decided to do the two big touristy things, so Christ the Redeemer and then also the Sugarloaf Mountain. So I did Sugarloaf Mountain the day before and did Christ the Redeemer yesterday. Honestly, Christ Redeemer, very underwhelming. I mean, it's just a bunch of tourists there. The view was really good, but the statue itself was like, it's just, it's not as cool as it looks like in all the pictures and everything. Like once we see it up close, you're like, it's kind of ugly. So yeah, but did that just check it off the box. I don't know when the next time I'll be in Rio, and especially doing all the touristy stuff. If I plan to go to Rio again, especially for like Carnaval or something, it will definitely be much more like I want to partake in like the local events, and I do intend to continue practicing and improving my Portuguese. So yeah, there's that. And then what else? Yeah, Christ Redeemer, and then today, or earlier today rather, and then also half of yesterday, I was just super tired. I just haven't been able to sleep in. I've been just having these very early mornings, and I just can't sleep in. So do feel like a low level of sleep deprivation. So yesterday after I got done with Christ Redeemer, I was just like totally wiped. So I went home, took a nap, did a client session, hung out with that same girl again, and then we went and got dinner, and we just chilled at my Airbnb. And then the next day she stayed over, and I continued chilling with her. And so I just definitely knew that I needed to let my body recover, because I'm probably going to be doing a lot of physical activity over the next couple of days, hiking to the falls, hiking around the falls and everything. And then so I just definitely need my body to be recharged. And the plan after this is go to Ribeirão Preto, which is it's a town like a few hours north of São Paulo, which I'm going to meet up with a friend there, and then afterwards go back to São Paulo, hang out there for a couple nights, so I can just be close for my return flight home. And that's pretty much it. That's what has happened in the past 72 to 96 hours. All right, what is up? Post-production Austin in the house here. So I realized that I had not filmed any footage after that last clip, and so I'm back in New York City, back in my normal apartment, and I'll bring you up to speed on everything that's happened. Actually, crazy story in Iguaçu. So after I rested up for that night, woke up pretty early the next morning, just couldn't sleep in, like I said, but then also I wanted to wake up kind of early and get a head start and get breakfast, and there was just like a included buffet at the place I was staying at. So okay, I'll wake up and get a pretty sizable breakfast in and save some money on the rest of my meals later on that day. And so actually my plan for the fall, so I had no plan. My plan was literally just researching on ChatGPT at the last minute, the night before, and then also a little bit in the morning as I woke up and just kind of let myself warm up for the day. And so after doing some research on ChatGPT, I came to the conclusion that I wasn't able to Uber across the border because Ubers just don't work internationally to the Argentina side. And I figured I'd do that first, by the way, because they said online that the trail was longer and there are more trails and stuff like that. And so I wanted to spend more time in Argentina. And then my plan was, if I got done with that early, head back to the Brazilian side and do the rest of the falls there. And then my next day would be some sort of free day there. And that was pretty much the plan. And so after researching on ChatGPT, because I couldn't do Uber, the plan was I could Uber to the border and walk across the border, because it said it was like a half-mile walk or something. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. They said there was like a bus option. Also, you could get a taxi, which is the most pricey option, but then at the same time the taxi would take you all the way across, and they have like deals with the border security or border patrol, whatever it is. And so I decided to just Uber there because my hostel was doing some sort of package where they would include the ticket, include transportation, but then it was close to like 100 USD, and part of me was like, I have the money to spend, but also I was like, I could save a little bit of money and also be an adventurer just to do it myself, and I have a little bit of this pride thing where like, I'll do it myself and save some money, right? So I went ahead and did that, and so I Ubered to the border, got to the border, and honestly my plan was just like to walk across, and then I was like, I'll figure it out from there. I'll Uber, once I get into Argentina. And so I Ubered there, got my stamp at Border Patrol, and then I decided to just ask just to make sure because I was having some doubts. So I was like, hey, can you walk across the bridge to Argentina? And the Border Patrol guy was basically like, well, you can walk, but it's like 3 to 4 kilometers. And so I was like, wait, what? So there goes my plan of trying to walk across, as that would take me literally like an hour to just cross the border there. But then he said, but there's a bus station that you can take right over there. And so I was like, okay, I'll wait for the bus. And, I was hoping that they had some sort of card option, but then I just did not think this through because I just didn't have any cash on me. Actually, a little bit of rewind, I actually got my cash stolen in Rio at the airport of all places, right? So I had forgotten my fanny pack on the plane, and so I didn't realize it. It probably fell under the chair or something, and I had left. I was just about to order my Uber, and I was like, wait, where's my wallet and everything? And so I was like, oh shit, I left my things on the plane. So I walked back to the information desk, talked to them. Actually, at first I was like trying to use my Portuguese, and then they're like, like go to the room with the lost luggage. And then I was like, okay, went there. I gave them my ticket, and then I talked to them in Portuguese. They're like, no, you got to go back in the airport and talk to them. Like, we don't have it yet because your flight was like literally just recent. And so I was like, what the hell? So I walked back and then tried to use my Portuguese to the same lady. We had a few exchanges back and forth, and she's like, you speak English? I was like, yes, okay. Because she was speaking really quickly and said some words that I didn't know. And so and she's like, do you know English? I'm like, okay, yes. She's like, okay, thank goodness. Okay. And then she spoke to me in English, and and she's like, why did they tell you to come back? I was like, I don't know. They just told me to come back. But then she's like, okay. So she was like, okay. And so she made a call to someone, spoke about lost luggage, something. And she's like, okay, great. So we can't get back for you. You just got to sit here and wait. I was like, okay. So I sat in the waiting area off to the side. And after about like 15 minutes or so, she told me, like, okay, great news. They found it. Someone's coming to get you your bag. And so, okay, great. So I waited like 5 more minutes. Someone came, handed me my bag. And I didn't think that anyone would steal from me. And so left my Airbnb, and I did not realize that all my cash was missing until the next day when I reached into my fanny pack, into my wallet to look for some cash to pay for something. I was like, wait, what the fuck? All my cash is missing. And so the only conclusion that I came to was that someone at the airport stole from me, because I had not lost sight of my bag until then. And the fact that only my cash was missing, because I had my passport, I had my credit cards, I had basically everything else in my wallet in there except all the cash was gone. And I had brought 100 USD, I exchanged like half of it earlier, spent some of the reais there, and so I was like, that's the only logical solution. So yeah, I guess that was just a little bit of a finder's fee, I guess I gotta pay to the airport. So yeah, I got stolen from in the least expected of all places. So yeah, there you go. So that's the backstory as to why I didn't have any cash on me. And so I didn't want to take any more cash just in case something like that would happen again. And so I had no cash going to the border to Argentina. So I decided the first bus that came, I boarded. I was like, hey, can you let me on? I just don't have any cash on me. And he's like, nah, dude. And I was like, okay, what the fuck am I going to do? And so I left the bus, decided to walk back to the border patrol place, and I was like, crap, what do I do? And then just so happens I see this taxi guy off the side. And I go and talk to him. I'm pretty sure he's like Argentina, but he knew some Portuguese, and we kind of exchanged back and forth. And he told me, I'm with someone right now. But he actually spotted me some cash. He's like, okay, when you get to Argentina, give me a call, and I'll help you out with the taxi service and all that. I'm like, okay, great. That's my plan. So super nice guy. He spotted me some cash, and I'm like, I'm going to pay him back and, help and like be a customer for his taxi service. And so that was my plan, head back to the bus station. And just so happens, there's these two other girls and this guy at the bus station. At first, we didn't talk because I just thought, oh, we're just some tourists and all that. But then the guy starts talking to girls and I hear English. And I was like, oh, English. And so I go up to them and we start chatting back and forth. And it turns out that we're all doing the same thing of trying to do it ourselves and get over to the other side of the falls by taking the bus and all that without any help of other people. And so we ended up chatting a little bit, and we ended up just spending the day with one another. And so we ended up taking the bus over to the other side, and it was this whole ordeal of like trying to figure out, because once we got over to the other side, and then we also all figured out, we all discovered that apparently Uber doesn't work in Argentina. And so my initial plan of going by myself to take the bus over and then Ubering from there would have been screwed, mind you. And so I was so glad to have found these guys, because otherwise I would have been like, what the hell am I doing? And like, I just could not figure it out. So glad I ran into the guys. And it's just one of those travel stories where I didn't do anything like as planned, and then it just so happens everything worked out in the end, because everything just kind of falls into place, right? And so we ended up over there, getting to that main bus terminal, and then turns out we had to hop on another local bus to take to the falls. And so we basically hunted around for directions for that, and then we ended up finding some random guy. He's like, yeah, the bus stop's right here, just wait. And then 15-20 minutes pass by, and finally the bus comes, and we take it all the way to the falls, and had an awesome day spent at the Argentina side. Ended up going to Patagonia Brewery after that and enjoying some delicious beers, having some delicious food as well. Had a couple empanadas, and then we ended up getting dinner over there, and then we decided to head back. And so the girls were staying at a hostel on the Argentina side, so we said farewell and all that. And then me and the guy had to go back to Brazil because we were both staying in accommodations on the Brazilian side. And so we ended up, we know what to do now. We hopped on the bus, headed back, and then this is one thing that I did not know, but he updated me on, is that he was adamant that we would have to stop at the Argentina and also the Brazilian side to get the stamps on our passport, or else immigration would give us a hard time when we tried to leave the country. And so we stopped on the Argentina side, got the stamp, all was good and well. And then on the Brazilian side, I had not realized it. And then once we just kind of breezed past the guy I was with, he was like, wait, did we stop? I was like, I think so. He's like, oh, we're supposed to stop and get off and get our stamps on the Brazilian side. I was like, well, that didn't happen, so now what? And so he goes up to the bus driver, talks to him for a little bit longer, and then these other guys stand up and they start talking a little bit more. And then he finally waits for me to come over, and I walk up to him, and he's like, dude, we have to go back to the Brazilian immigration and get our passport stamped. I was like, oh, okay. And so the bus driver is like, yeah, you can just get off and go to the other side and wait for the next bus to come on. Like, what? I was like, what? I was just confused at this point. And it turns out we were like a mile and a half away from the immigration point, and on the side of the highway, and the bus driver just lets us off and say, oh, just go to the other side, and he gives us a freaking free bus ticket. And at this point, we have no idea when the next bus is going to come. It is dark. We're on the side of the highway, and we're like, what the hell is going on? And so we don't know when the next bus is going to come. So we ended up walking on the side of the highway back to the Brazilian side, Brazilian immigration office, and we're like, dude, what the hell is going on right now? Is this even happening? And it's dark on the side of the highway. We could have gotten mugged, we could have gotten kidnapped, or we could have even gotten killed by some wild animals, because there were signs with cheetahs and stuff all over the place. So we could have been seriously injured or died or something like that. So that was really sketchy, but thank goodness nothing happened to us. We ended up walking back. It took about 20 minutes to walk back to the immigration point and got our passport stamped. And we're calling an Uber because we're back on Brazilian side, and so we ended up Ubering back home. And so yeah, that was pretty much how we ended that day for the Argentina side of Foz do Iguaçu. Pretty crazy travel story that I am glad to have survived and got out unscathed and made for a great story. So yeah, that's what happened. And then the next day, super chill. I Ubered to his place. I had to check out that day, so I checked out. He was staying there for another several days, so we ended up actually being pretty good buddies. And so I dropped myself off at his place. He was able to hold it for me. He actually rented a car for his time being there. He has a Brazilian girlfriend, so he was staying in Brazil for a good amount of time. And so I dropped myself off at his place, ended up carpooling with him to the Brazilian side of the falls, parked there, and then we enjoyed the Brazilian side of the falls and saw everything, and ended up getting, I think, we didn't, yeah, I had breakfast, and then we ended up not getting lunch. There was this restaurant on the falls. It was like a buffet style, but it was like really expensive for what it was, and didn't have that much good food from what we saw. So we ended up just chilling, got a couple of caipirinhas there, and then ended up going back to the parking lot, took his car, and we walked over to the bird park, the Parque das Aves. So yeah, the bird park there, and ended up seeing some toucans. It was just pretty cool. It's like an enclosed cage area with a bunch of different types of bird species, and you just actually got to interact with them and be super close to them. So that was a cool experience. And then we ended up walking back to the car, driving back to his hotel that he was staying at. There's a little restaurant in there. Ended up getting some burgers and fries to fill up before my flight, and so ended up just chilling. He let me use his place to shower, so that was nice. And then ended up getting to my flight on time and going to São Paulo, which I would connect to Ribeirão Preto to see my friend. And actually, my flight ended up, so the flight from Foz do Iguaçu to São Paulo was fine. And then the domestic flight from São Paulo to Ribeirão Preto ended up getting delayed for like 2 hours. So I didn't get into Ribeirão Preto until like 3 a.m. So that was insane. That sucked, but it is what it is. So I ended up staying there, got in late, chilled, slept, tried to sleep in, and then next morning hung out with my friend for the day, and then she had to go back home in like the evening, and so ended up going to the supermarket and buying some picanha and getting some salad stuff. Ended up making some dinner at home. Ended up making some bomb-ass homemade picanha, by the way. That was really good. And then, yeah, just chilled there for that second night. And then woke up the next morning. I chilled out some more. And, yeah, spent the day just pretty much chilling. And then I actually booked a blah car, which is like a kind of like a rideshare service, but it's more so like more casual, where people are like, I'm gonna go drive from here to here, and like if you want to come along, you can give me a little bit of cash, and then we'll take you. And so I ended up doing that 3-hour drive from Ribeirão Preto over to São Paulo. Ended up actually booking it with this nice couple who they spoke English, and they were from there, but they spoke English. They worked for some international company, so that was pretty cool. We chatted a little bit, and I actually got to drive through and see what the Brazilian countryside was like, which honestly, it's a lot like America, like the U.S. Excuse me. And so, yeah, that was a pretty cool experience. Ended up getting in São Paulo and staying there for like another 2 nights, three nights actually, 3 nights I believe, two or 3 nights. Either way, 2 or 3 nights, 2 or 3 days before I headed out for my flight back home here. And yeah, ended up hanging out with a couple of friends that I met from Brazil, and then also were in São Paulo for those few days. And yeah, just chill. Ended up checking out Beco the Batman again, actually getting to walk around and experience that more. And then also checked out Ibirapuera Park, which is like their central park of the city. And what else did I do? Yeah, other than that, I just chilled and took it slow, took it easy, and just sort of took it all in and got myself mentally prepared to come back. And then made it back after the last day, and made it back into New York like 7 a.m. in the morning. Took a red-eye flight, and that was pretty much the summation of my trip. But yeah, pretty crazy experience overall. And so I guess I'll end the video here with my overall thoughts on Brazil's. So pros, cons, and all that. So definitely pros. I feel like Brazil is just like one of a kind. I know it's so cliche to say, but Brazil is just a whole ass vibe, dude. Like I loved my trip. I plan on going back eventually, especially like multiple times. And it's such a big country. There's so many things to do. The people are like none other. I've definitely seen some videos, and I totally agree that Brazil, like, people are just naturally social, and they're very open and friendly. And yeah, it's just like none other. It's just a whole different culture. I love the people there. They're, like I said, they're very social, friendly, and I definitely I just felt welcome, and I felt warm as soon as I got there. Yeah, beautiful place, a lot of nature, a lot of delicious food. They definitely have a very much focus on like health and being social, and it's just so much, just like I said, it's just a different vibe in the sense that the people there are very much so family, socially, and health oriented, that you can see that a lot of the different things that they partake in are like a culmination into that. Like I wouldn't say that I got to experience life like a true local, but I still got a sense of that from just making Brazilian friends, and that a lot of them just spend their days, obviously they'll go to work and they'll be part of that daily grind lifestyle and that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, they always find reasons to celebrate and have gatherings, and I definitely feel like that was very much reflected in Carnaval, and then also some friends who don't partake in Carnival, but every week they'll like hang out with family. They'll have get-togethers. They'll have just outings and stuff. And so I definitely think it is a very much socially and community-oriented type of living that sometimes we have this in the States, but also at the same time we tend to focus way, way, way too much on work. That our lives are very much just work-centric, but it's like people just make time to hang out and be social and just like live like true human beings. I feel like how we were meant to live, and I certainly do think that I have a longing for that type of lifestyle now, where hey, let's just find any excuse to hang out and be social and have some sense of community, instead of just, hey, I need to work, or I'm always doing this, I'm always busy doing this. And like, I mean, sure, it's a different lifestyle, but at the same time, I feel like as humans, we have to prioritize this to some extent and make time to be human. So that's definitely a huge pro that I have personally experienced and found, and I definitely cannot wait to go back and actually stay an extended period of time and actually feel like how it is to live like a local there. Cons, I'd say the biggest con is definitely just because a lot of people live in poverty. Obviously is a lot of crime. Like, you cannot avoid this singular fact. A lot of Brazilians will also say this as well. And yeah, I just didn't like the feeling of always being paranoid on my phone and just watching my belongings and that kind of stuff. Everywhere has crime, but I feel like here in the States, like, I don't, even on the streets of New York, in most areas, you're going to feel relatively safe, and you're not going to feel like, oh, someone's going to come by and snatch my phone or something like that. So definitely just this feeling of like general safety that I feel here compared to Brazil is something that I took for granted. And just going over that, I was just like, I just have to be so hyper focused and aware of these types of things. And yeah, and then of course some of the things that kind of come with poverty and just being in underdeveloped areas. Obviously some of the infrastructure like is old, and then not being able to like drink tap water and all that kind of stuff, which is like very minor in the grand scheme of things, but definitely just like I'm just comparing pros and cons here. But yeah, that's just my overall review of Brazil as someone who just spent very, very little time there, a total of 3 weeks. But overall, huge net positive. I do want to go back. I do enjoy it. For all the cons, I still love the country, and I feel like the trade-offs are worth it in just getting to live life like a human being, which is something that I felt like I was craving for the longest time. Just as someone who's born and raised in the US, we just have this longing for social community, third spaces, that type of thing. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. 10 out of 10 trip, best trip to date. And I feel like a big part of it too was me actually learning, taking time to learn some Portuguese, and so that I could actually immerse myself and be a little bit part of the culture and have some investment into the culture and the people and the language and all that. So yeah, if you're thinking about going to Brazil, obviously have your head in a swivel, take precautions, be safe, but at the end of the day, I think you'll have the best time of your life in that country, and it'll be a one of a kind, one in a lifetime experience. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching this all the way to the end and following along my journey. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. If you've been to Brazil, if you plan to go to Brazil, let me know. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe too. I'll be back on the fitness stuff after this, since I just took a trip and I wanted to kind of tell you about my experience. And yeah, I also wanted to make this a bit more lifestyle too, instead of just like fitness. So yeah, I'll stop rambling. Thanks for watching. Catch you next one. Peace out.